Welcome to Day 9, How to Convert Your Dream Customers into Loyal Evangelists. The Retail Solve Blueprint to teach you everything you need to know to confidently grow and scale your brand. Build a connected community of loyal evangelists and multiply your brand's impact, sales, and profits. If we are meeting for the first time, my name is Dan Lohman. I've had the privilege of mentoring and working with hundreds of brands, from pre-revenue to multi-billion dollars in sales. This is a culmination of the best strategies that are working today. I spent years testing and perfecting them to save you valuable time and money, giving you the edge that you deserve. If you haven't done so yet, download the free 30-Day to Prosperity workbook at retailsolve.com 30-Day workbook to help you get the most out of this brand building series. Go back and listen to all the episodes in this masterclass so that you don't miss anything. The strategies build upon each other in the order of the series. Please share these and help me raise the bar in natural. I want to take a moment to recap the last episode, How to Master Your Why, What Problem Do You Solve? In that episode, we talk about understanding what your why is. Why does your brand exist? What's unique about your brand? And how does it resonate with customers? Traditionally, bigger companies and solution providers talk about the customer, the generic customer, in terms of the way the generic customer will want to use your product. And I told you that that's not enough. You need to get to know your customer a lot better than that. And the more effectively you engage that customer, the more effectively you're able to get to know them, the more effectively you're able to leverage that to grow sustainable sales. Let me give you a quick example. I use this a lot. Mainstream solution providers think of the low-cost consumer as someone who eats a couple salads and goes for a walk. In our world, the low-cost consumer is also concerned about their impact on the environment, about how they support local, about how they reduce waste. For example, buying products with sustainable packaging or compostable packaging. These are things that we need to be thinking about because it's that unique consumer, your unique consumer, that will go out of their way to buy your product, and they'll pay a premium for products that matter most to them, the products that deliver high value. And remember, the customer that buys your product is also going to buy a lot of complementary products that also deliver extremely high value. So today we're going to talk about how do you leverage that at retail. Let me frame our conversation this way. If I go to a store and I buy your brand, you know nothing about me. You don't know how I use the brand, how I celebrate your brand, or how I share it or talk about it with my friends and family. Let's fix that. This is the way to future-proof your brand. When I say future-proof your brand, I mean develop a relationship with your customer so that you know everything there is to know about me. You know how to connect with me and how to meet me on my terms. You want to think about the cost of reacquiring a customer. In one of the podcast episodes, I was talking to the marketing director for Whole Foods. She said that they spent $270 to reacquire a customer. Think about that. What a waste of money. What an expensive proposition, and that money gets passed on to the customers that buy their products. Think about what it would cost to acquire your customer. How much is it? What strategy do you use to be able to measure that? Most brands don't know the answer to that question. This is something we want to get down to. We want to understand what it costs to acquire a customer. More importantly, we want to figure out a way to develop a loyal relationship with that customer, so instead of constantly trying to reacquire them through promotions and stuff like that, that they come to us because they know, like, and trust us, because they love our brand. So ideally, we want customers to evangelize our brand to their friends and family, etc. And to be able to understand how to make that transition, how to get customers to do that, we need to get to know them as if we would a good friend. And by the way, this is why trade promotions are so ineffective. The rinse and repeat strategy that most brands use do not help you grow sales, sustainable sales. All they really do is throw a lot of money at promotions that don't deliver a high ROI. We need to understand the real value of the brand and how it attracts customers. Sadly, most of the brands that I talk to or work with, they believe that the selling ends at checkout. That's actually just the beginning. This is where you have that opportunity to get your brand into a customer's hands. Don't blow it. You need to get to know that customer, and you need to develop a relationship with them so that they love your brand, so that they get to know everything about the brand. For example, what is the story behind the brand? What caused you to use organic products, organic ingredients, instead of something else that's a lot cheaper? Why are you going out of your way to buy the best ingredients for your package, for your product, etc.? These are the things that you need to help your customer understand. Again, that goes back to storytelling. This is where you take a customer who just tried your product and you invite them to become part of your community. Now, one of the challenges that I mentioned a minute ago is a lot of the big solution providers or the big brands, they commoditize shoppers. They talk to us all in the same tone of voice. All females are the same, so therefore they buy all the products the same way, right? You know that's absolutely not true. This is exactly why I created the free Turnkey Sales Store Strategies course. This is exactly why I put that course together to help you understand or help you identify what that customer looks like, how that customer buys your product, and then more importantly, how you can leverage that at retail. You want to be able to walk in their shoes. You want to be able to talk their language, speak their language. As I said, you want to get to know them like you would a close friend. This is why this matters. If you can have a customer reach out to you and say, you know what, it sounds like you're in my head. You've hit the jackpot. Because at that point, now you've converted an occasional shopper into a loyal evangelist. And this is what we're shooting for. If we can get a customer to come back again and again and again to buy our product, that makes our product, our brand, a lot more valuable to a retailer. I spent a lot of time talking about the cost to reacquire a customer. We've talked a little bit about velocity. We've talked a little bit about trade spinning. The value of your brand is measured by the customer that you attract. And if you can leverage that customer in terms of driving more sales at retail, that's what retailers really want. And of course, the best way to do that is to build a connected community outside of retail. The reason this matters is because brands need to own their customers. They need to understand who their customer is, and they need to develop a relationship with that customer. This is where you have an opportunity not only to get to know a little bit more about me, but how I use the product. What do I like about it? What don't I like about it? There are a lot of other advantages to this that we'll get to in later episodes. But for now, we want to try to find a strategy, a method, a way to develop a loyal community outside of traditional retail, where you can effectively own that customer. And then you can drive that customer into whatever store you want to. I hope this is beginning to make a lot of good sense to you. These are the strategies that I talk about throughout the podcast, the webinar series, YouTube, etc. Leverages to help your brand grow and scale. For additional inspiration, listen to podcast episode Secret 6 with Bill Bishop of Brick Meets Click, Brand Strategies to Drive Sales at Retail. The reality is that customers don't pick up your brand and buy your brand the way that they used to buy it several years ago. Now they look beyond the four corners of your package to learn about your brand. Exactly what I've been talking about all along. Instead of going into a store and buying your brand because they're used to buying it, etc., now they're going to go into the store, look at your brand, and try to understand a little bit about you, the owner, where the ingredients comes from, how transparent are you in terms of putting together the products, etc. This is why it's so critically important to develop a strategy to bring me into your ecosystem, to bring me into your community, to invite me into your community, to better understand how I use your product and how I share it with my friends and family. Secret 6 with Bill Bishop with Brick Meets Click, Brand Secrets to Drive Sales at Retail. Next, I recommend you watch the webinar, the free webinar, How to Boost Shopper Engagement and Explode Sales. Go to retailsales.com/gratitude. In this webinar, I talk about a creative strategy that I recently adopted called Bonjour. It allows me to reach out to a customer quickly and leave a short message and let them know how much I appreciate them. It allows them to engage with me after that. So in other words, if you download one of my guides, I'll send you a free Bonjour saying thank you for downloading it and letting you know that if you've got any additional questions, I'm here to help. More importantly, during the free webinar, you'll see a couple examples about how brands use us in real life. One of the examples that you'll see during the webinar is an example about how a brand owner not only celebrates and thanks the customer for buying their product, but he also celebrates the people who make the product, where their product comes from, and their mission. It's a great story, and you need to see it by watching the episode. How to Boost Shopper Engagement and Explode Sales. Remember, go to retailsolve.com/gratitude. Next, I recommend How Do You Future-Proof Your Store in Uncertain Times. Go to retailsolve.com/future-proof your store. I did this free webinar in cooperation with Whole Foods Magazine. In this webinar, we talk about how you can leverage these strategies to help your brand partners succeed on your behalf. In other words, instead of going to a retailer with a traditional strategy where you get out your checkbook, now you're providing benefits, actionable insights to that retailer that they can leverage at retail. You're helping that retailer future-proof their store. You're helping that retailer compete more effectively in their market by helping them understand how your customer buys your products, what's unique about your customer, and how when your customer buys your product, what are the things that they buy. This strategy is going to differentiate you dramatically from your competition. How do you future-proof your store in uncertain times? Go to retailsolve.com/future-proof your store. Tip of the day. You need to own your customers. They're your most valuable asset. Build a thriving, connected community to engage and nurture them. This is how you convert your dream customers into loyal evangelists. I've recorded a video with this that has illustrations and additional information I can't share in the audio podcast. You can see it on the podcast webpage, and you can get there by going to brandsecretsandstrategies.com/session235. In tomorrow's show, we'll talk about how to create a thriving, engaged community around your brand. This episode will build on today's conversation. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.